Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here, and today we're going to talk about PlayStation because I think it's time to have that tough discussion about how buying Bungie for $3.5 billion, I think it was a massive mistake. And now it's time to say what I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid to discuss, which is how they need to cancel Marathon. At this point, I'm sure Bungie has probably cost hundreds of millions of dollars of development on this project, but this weekend, a bunch of leaks are coming out that apparently Bungie internally is just dead. If you're trying to save the studio, if you want to even recoup part of that billions of dollars you spent on it, I think it's time to say Marathon has to die. But let's take a look at the leaks because I think that Bungie is still hopefully useful in a way, but this current trend of live service stuff that Sony has been attempting, it has to die now. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, a big reason that basically Sony even admits the reason they bought Bungie is to be taste makers. Like, obviously, Bungie is one of the most classic series. I mean, it's crazy to think about the fact that not only did they invent Marathon back in the day, they made Halo, they made Destiny. They have made some of the biggest online communities and fan bases in the world, and they've managed to maintain it for decades. And so when they bought them, Sony basically said, we have this big new live service initiative. We're trying to basically fund, originally they said they had 12 live service games in mind. Some of them were actually released. We can see some of them have actually even been popular. Stuff like Gran Turismo 7, Helldivers 2, those have been incredibly popular, but look at the amount of misses they have. This is crazy. Concord, gone. Last of Us Online, gone. Twisted Metal, gone. Spider-Man and the Great Web, of which that was so complete, there's actually leaked trailers of it with full voice acting. It was going to be a games as a service Spider-Man game. Canceled. Now, apparently, a big reason of why they bought Bungie is they wanted to have somebody in the room that could kind of say, that works, that doesn't, this will be over budget. Because Bungie, whether you like Destiny or not, it has been an incredible success. Destiny has had multiple expansions, it's had millions of concurrent players. It is a very, very big deal. So they knew the fact that when Sony bought them, they went, okay, you can tell us which of these is actually worth funding. Which is interesting because now at this point, Bungie's the one that doesn't seem to understand how to make their stuff work. So this is the thing. The Art Raiders controversy. So if you haven't been keeping up, somebody stole all of the art for Marathon. All of it. The iconography, the visual language. People even think they may have stolen the music from the trailers. I mean, it's bad. And now everybody's calling it. This is a game called Arc Raiders. I think technically right now it's the third most wish list game on Steam. It's another extraction shooter, and it's one that people are honestly extremely excited about. But this, having two big extraction shooters at the same time, it's not necessarily a zero-sum game. We've seen times where there's two separate styles of game in the same genre, and they both end up being successes. But in this case, everybody in the whole world is cheering on Arc Raiders, and everybody in the world is saying, okay, this is theft. Arc Raiders versus Art Raiders is, honestly, the reason this is bad is because it's hilarious. It's definitely going to stick. And apparently, inside of Bungie, morale is at freefall. Everybody at the studio knows the project is just dead. They recently had a very extended alpha. I actually applied to be in the alpha. I didn't get selected, but I really did want to have a chance to actually play this game because I have been cautiously optimistic. I do love first-person shooters. I'm not really into extraction shooters, but I've always been a big believer in that the best games explain why you should love the genre. I wasn't really into roguelikes or card games until I played Slay the Spire, and then it turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time. I was hoping the fact that not only would this be good, it would win me over to the idea of extraction shooters. And instead, the feedback in the alpha has been so negative, or in a lot of cases, so bland. So many people that played the alpha or basically were like, okay, this game just, it sucks. It's not ready for release in September. But here's the other thing. Apparently, internally, Bungie leadership has reportedly had the people actually working on the game talking about the fact that a lot of this game just won't work. Bungie leadership reportedly ignored the devs of Marathon's warnings for years about what would and wouldn't work, along with their requests to add a PvE component to the game. Now, the number one complaint I've heard from everybody inside of the alpha they had for this game is the fact that the goal is to hunt other players. Extraction shooters are always based on this idea of trying to go around the map and it has a permadeath. You can evac after a certain amount of times. You're trying to go in, do quests, collect materials, and kill some basic bots, but the real thrill, the real reward is killing other players and evacing with their weapons. When they die, they permanently lose their gear. You can take their weapons, their upgrades, their scopes, their pieces. That's the exciting part of it. But a lot of people have said, okay, this combat is tight. The aiming is, of course, Bungie is some of the king of really, really, really good sniping and stuff. But a lot of people are like, okay, why is this called Marathon? Marathon is an actual universe already. It has bots. It's got cool tech. It's got great lore already. Why are we fully abandoning that to be on a random planet in the Marathon universe? It just doesn't make sense. And a lot of people have said, okay, what if we had had a PvE mode, a place to go to farm to get cool upgrades and stuff, and then I want to go into those extraction maps. I want to go there and actually test out the gear I've earned, you know? The fact that they said, we're not going to put any sort of PvE maps at all, it turned a lot of people off. Especially, think of all the Destiny fans. Like, there is a huge chunk of people that are hungry for a Destiny 3, which we now know is never going to exist, or if it does exist, it's going to be very far in the future. But a lot of people went, okay, if I can't have another Destiny, I can have another Bungie. Those people are looking at this and saying, I don't want an extraction shooter. I want a shooter. I want a Bungie shooter, but I don't want to just be permadeathing into maps all day. And it seems like the devs are just like, bro, we just don't care. So at Friday on 3 p.m., they did a public apology. They did a live stream on Friday that was incredibly bleak. The directors, the developers, they came on camera. They very obviously had not slept. And they read this pre-programmed apology about how we're so sorry about the fact that we stole all the art. We're trying to pay the artists we stole from, but we have big plans for the road ahead. Everybody thought that stream was going to basically be like, here's when the open beta is coming out. Here's some new details. Here's a tease of the next map. And obviously instead, things were not so good. Now, here's the weird part. Obviously, with any game today, you invest a ton in marketing. Marketing is such a big, big part of games now. It's unfortunate, but I mean, let's face it, if you're spending $100 million on your game, a lot of times you want to spend an extra $100 million making sure people know about it, so they're hyped about it, so they're ready to tweet and post clips and stuff like that. There was about to be a big marketing blitz starting in June. Now, not a giant surprise. We're about to have Summer Games Fest. This is typically when we get that E3 time. Obviously, E3 doesn't exist anymore, but it sounds like all of it is just gone. All those ads, all those hype moments, probably a shadow drop of an open beta, it's all just gone. Bungie has reportedly scrapped its original June marketing plans, which included a new trailer and pre-orders. The open beta in August may shift to a roadmap of public playtests. When I look at this list of canceled games by PlayStation, I see a graveyard. I see games that were probably great that were not profitable enough. Naughty Dog is a great company. I bet The Last of Us Online, some people that have had a chance to play the new Last of Us Online said it was actually fantastic. They said it was absolutely superb, but they just didn't think it would live for years and years and years. The big problem with live service is that it's not just about a launch. It's not just coming out and having good pre-orders and being able to have a cool story that gets people engaged and makes people want to draw fan art and cosplay it. It's about in perpetuity. Constantly having that next big update. And when I look at this graveyard of releases, I think it's a sign about the fact that, if anything, the purchasing of Bungie, the biggest downside to it is I think it gave PlayStation too much confidence towards this live service push, this live service obsession. And when I see this list of 18 games, 90% which are canceled. I know for a fact that we're about to see another one right here at the bottom, a 19th game. Marathon canceled. And I'm in a spot where I'm starting to think it is for the best. With all the theft, with all the controversy, with all the funny business, just across the board, classic Bungie still has some soul. But it doesn't exist in Marathon, and I think the leadership that currently exists, they gots to go. This is just some off-the-cuff thoughts. I've played a lot of Destiny. I've played a lot of Halo. One of the first things I ever did that was like kind of competing and stuff like that, I actually used to compete in Halo tournaments, and I won money. I used to actually drive around Texas with my friends, packed up in cars with our custom controllers that had a little stopwatch glued to it. So whenever you picked up a power weapon, you'd start your stopwatch, do a lap around the map, and pick up that power weapon again. I think about the fact that Bungie really is the kings of making stuff to care about. And if people aren't caring about Marathon, cut it now before you start dumping hundreds into marketing on a game we know isn't going to sell. These have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about Marathon? How do you feel about PlayStation? And how do you feel about the graveyard of live service? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Rest in pepperoni. Hopefully they survive.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.